people who like all kinds of music. All kinds of music.
Check this out. We got a great show coming your way today.
I've learned that music is what feelings sound like. Follow me on my journey to discover new music, new styles, and new people. Welcome. This is
Real Talk, Real Music, here on the LDM radio station.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna say, hey, how are you? So we're on. Okay, so hola mi gente, this is your girl Evie. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, Real Music here on the LDM radio. How are you guys? I hope you're doing fine. And I hope that you're ready for my guest today. He's an award-winning artist, a dynamic musician, an amazing writer, and he sings in Spanish. He sang in Spanish. I mean, what more can you ask for? Please help me welcome recording artist Keith Shaw. Yeah. How are you, Keith? How are you?
I'm doing great. Trying to stay dry tonight, as we were talking about.
I know. We having I don't know what's going on in this weather's bipolar. I always call it.
I still have two, like about this big, two very small patches of snow from the other day in my front yard.
No way. Oh my God.
I was going to scoop them up and make like the tiniest snowman, but I just said my hands don't want to be cold.
I know it's crazy. This weather is just something else, honestly, something else. And even though that we're going through all these changes and the things that are happening in the world, well, first of all, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today.
you for having me.
And like I was saying, with all these things happening with the earth and the weather and this and that and the earth and all this stuff, sometimes we get inspired to write. And you as a writer, what's going on in the world right now, does it inspire to just like, you know what? I have this thought. Let me just pin it down. And is that like your creative process? Do you have to be inspired by what's going on around you?
I get my inspiration from a number of different places.
Mm-hmm.
Like in 2023, I didn't record anything. I just wrote. I would just sit there on my computer and write. I write better. Like a lot of people like to write paper and pen or pencil or whatever. I like to do it on the computer because that way I can change it as many times as I need to. Then I'll print it out and change it. So I started writing again late in 2023. I hadn't done any new material. And I got inspired because of a family situation. And I wrote a song called Waiting for a Miracle. And then I did that in Spanish too, called Esperando un Milagro. So I did that because my spouse
was. What's funny, Keith? That I was gonna tell you that's one of my favorite songs when I was listening to your album.
Nice.
That's why when you said it, I'm like,
yeah. So that would be a really good example of something from a real life thing. I mean, not like in the world, but like personal thing. And when my wife was suffering from cancer, which I'll go into details, but when we were at the hospital doing all of the chemotherapy and stuff, we would be there for like 6 or 7 or 8 hours a day. And I would just sit there with my laptop and just type. Oh, I got an idea for this song. So then that was the first song idea I came up with was Esperando un Milagro, Waiting for a Miracle.
Right.
And then
it's amazing how amazing how unfortunate, I'm sorry to hear that about your wife, and I hope
she's good. Everything.
That was my first thing. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's
she's
good.
good. But that's just sitting there because I would sit there, read a book a little bit, but I get bored, and I say, I gotta like make some more creative music material, and I do all of my own music. So I write it, and then I do music.
That's what I know.
And then, I figure out what I want to hear. Obviously I want to hear percussion of some kind, right. Whether it's just rock percussion or Latin percussion or whatever. Then I figure that out, and then I keep building up from there. And then like the guitar parts and all that stuff. And then like the bass and then I'll say, oh, there's keyboard sound good in there, or horn sound good in there. like in Just You and Me Dancing, like a little horn
Right.
fill type thing.
Mhm.
So I just kind of build up from there. And I get my ideas from a lot of different places. Like I'll see something like a title of a TV
Like
show,
a billboard or anything like that.
or a title of a TV show, and
Right.
I'll say, man, that would make a great title for a song. Like there's a song I have that's going to come out actually. What is today? Oh, it's the end of January. On February the 6th, it ties right into a happening in the world called "Who Will Fall."
Wow.
So I got that idea from the title of a TV show, and then wrote it all out. And when you see this in a few days, when it's available on streaming, and I send it out to you guys and so forth, you'll see from the graphic and hear from the words that it's tied it right into a social issue of today. It's really
Wow.
about particularly children, because the images are
Right.
children.
Right.
Because I do all my own artwork too, but it's tied into children who are displaced, deported, discarded, whatever other many words I could come up with. This I
Right.
don't know, but you kind of get the idea, and that's how I came up with the idea for that song. So some of it comes from silly stuff. Like I had this, like,
Like they're just waking up and like, oh, I can't find my slippers. And
yeah,
it's like, I know it sounds silly, but it clicks in your mind. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Or I'll just have like a thought, like the song "Red Kisses," "Besos Rojos." Matter of fact, all of my Spanish songs will be available for digital download
And
next Tuesday.
yeah, I am so glad because I was so, when like I said, I'm a city girl and I wasn't, I know, like I consider your sound to be like freight train music, and like, you just like rock, you just lay back, like have fun, and it was just like a different sound for me to familiarize myself, and
Yeah.
it just it was just like a whole new dimension of what I'm already used to.
Well, that's
So
good.
I'm glad that, and I was kind of surprised and kind of proud that I'm like, oh my God, he sings in Spanish, and you weren't afraid to do that. And
Well,
I mean, were you a little intimidated
no,
when you,
no.
decided to record in Spanish?
I actually the way that I came up with the idea
Hmm.
to start, and I didn't start up to say I'm gonna make a whole album in Spanish. I just got the idea because I was doing a local performance where it's acoustic, so you might be doing it by yourself, and you might be doing it. Maybe you got like a partner, like you're playing a guitar and they're playing like I don't know, saxophone or whatever,
Right, right.
or hand percussion or piano keyboard. And we did. You had to perform somebody else's song, and I'm not a big cover person, and
Yeah.
that's why I do what I do, because I'm gonna do my
I
ideas.
noticed that. I noticed that
Yeah,
when I was researching and listening to your music. I'm like, wait a minute, he wrote everything. Like you compose, wrote, I mean, arrange everything.
yeah. But
That's an amazing thing.
I got the idea of possibly recording in Spanish because I covered somebody else's song, and I was going to do the two songs were by different people, different local musicians,
Wow.
and one of them I did in English, just like the woman wrote it. But the other one, I said, you know what? I'm gonna shake up this night of music, and I started singing this song, and the jaws just dropped. They're like what's going on, right? Because nobody expected it, right?
Right, right.
So then is that was early in 2023 when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and then as the year went on, then I said, you know what, I'm going to kind of just test the water a little bit and see what happens.
Why not? Why not?
So I did it with Esperando. My cat's here; he's dancing around my feet.
You see.
That's why I'm looking down, because sometimes he gets a little bratty. Um, so I tried it with that, and then I said, you know what? for every English version of a song I do, I'm going to do like a twin brother, twin sister thing, but it'll be in Spanish. So if you
Nice.
listen to those songs, the music is exactly the same. It's the lyrics.
Right.
And plus, I got that idea from watching a movie. I don't know if you remember a movie.
Listen, that's how we get the ideas. You
Yeah,
said it yourself. Look, I could just stare at the sun, and I'm like, wait a minute.
yeah.
It's something is just,
But
hey,
there was,
it's passion, passion,
yeah.
Keith, passion.
But I remember this movie about this fictional band, and the band was kind of falling apart at the end. And the manager of the band says, "You're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and you're going to record this song in Spanish." And I said, that was a light bulb for me too. I said, "Oh
Oh
yeah."
my
So
goodness.
then as I started going from last December through actually last month, I
Mhm.
just started doing that. So I would just do those kind of side by side
Right.
because I have my own music studio set up, so I don't have to go to like a place and all that kind of stuff. I do it all on my own.
Right.
So that's kind of how that whole parallel universe of
That is
music
so
came
weird,
together.
but in a good way. Weird, but in a good way, because you were
Yeah,
put in this situation, but you arrived. Hey, you
yeah.
brought it. You brought it, and
But
and I'm glad that you did, because people like me, um when they looking for listening to new sounds, new people, new music, to come across somebody that it wasn't afraid to
yeah,
dip the toes into something different, that was extraordinary for me. It was. I was like, oh my god, he sang in
yeah.
Spanish,
And
you know.
even that experience inspired me to write songs based on that experience. It's not obvious to anybody in the world except for maybe me. But as I'm going through the year and I'm writing these songs, and some of them, like Esperando un Milagro and Solo Tu y Yo Bailando, won like awards for Latin song.
Look at that.
And I said to myself one day, like last September, I said, you know what? Or no, last August. And I said, you know what? That was a good idea. I made the right choice. And then all of a sudden that triggered a song idea. And there's a song called Made the Right Choice,
Hmm.
which came about because I took a chance on stuff. It worked out. The music got some awards. The music got played on various radio outlets, streaming
That's
outlets,
awesome.
whatever.
Oh, that's
Which
crazy.
which I said to myself, this is worth writing about. Now,
Yeah.
like now, only you know about Made the Right Choice. Now, in the Spanish version is No Mira Atrás.
Hmm.
I didn't look back.
That's right.
So I did that a little bit differently, and of course the lyrics are different and so forth. But the ideas just come from like we're to kind of
Like
put a big
wherever
yeah.
this.
But um,
Mhm.
the last song or the song I released at the beginning of the month, I haven't released the Spanish version of this, is a song called Freedom, which is not like, some people might think it's like this patriotic song, but it's really about the lack of freedom, the lack of being able to go wherever you want to go without any
Mhm.
limitations. But the version in Espanol is even more hard hitting because it's called Sin Fronteras. So
Oh
without borders.
wow! And I would think that you would say libre, which is freedom, is like free, libre. But
Yeah,
you actually, that's a very I don't want to call it strategic, but it's like a surprising to actually for the people, like, wow, it's
yeah,
not really, what people think
yeah. So
that it's gonna be.
that song hasn't been released yet. It'll be maybe in April. I'll release that song because, like I said, I have the song coming out in English, "Who Will Fall," which is about, like I said, children who are disenfranchised,
Right.
displaced, whatever. Not only here, but look like places like Syria and Gaza and whatever, and all these little
I
kids that just get
Yes,
shoved
definitely.
out of their homes.
Mhm.
And then the next song, actually, I'll be doing the vocals for it tomorrow. Is a song called "Welcome to the Freak Show," which is
Hey,
100, which is
hey,
100,
that's what we're living right now.
which is 110% inspired by what the heck is going on in the world and all that other stuff without getting into a lot of gory details. But
Yeah.
some of my stuff can be a little more social, political, whatever. And I get that inspiration from groups like U2, U2,
But
the
I
Irish.
think that at some point, there's so much that you can talk about flowers and love
Oh,
and the
true.
good things, but then at the same time, I think we need a reality of what is happening. And
Yes,
we
I
always
agree.
music connects all of us, but it's the reality that we live in.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at musicians through time, no matter what language they sang in, there was
Yeah.
always somebody who sung about things that were important in the world. I mean, in America it was guys like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez. In Latin America, it was guys like Victor Yara, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you remember him at all, I mean, I'm going like way back to oh geez, early '70s.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what I don't know if you know the story of him, but this of what happened to him because he kept speaking out through his music and this thing and the things that he was
Right.
involved with.
I'm not too
Yeah,
familiarized, but
well, all right, so
I heard
we'll keep
about.
it we'll
Yeah.
keep it happy.
Yeah, no, we'll keep it, but I more or less I know a little bit about it, and
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, and
yeah. So
it's been a struggle.
yeah, so my music can go any place, and not only like the words, but like I'll hear stuff as I'm recording a song, like a sound, like in the song "Made the Right Choice," "Numera Tras." I actually there's a place that's about 30 minutes north of here. It might be like
Right.
kind of halfway between here and New York, so it's like halfway
Mhm.
between us here, and it's a huge like you think you went to India. It's a
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
up in Robbinsville, New Jersey, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but we were there when I was recording "Made the Right Choice," and of course they have all the the classic Indian architecture with the huge buildings and the
I know,
statues,
and the little yep, yep.
yeah, and the things like this.
The little darling,
And I kept hearing sitars in my head,
yeah.
the sitar, the instrument. So
Yeah.
that song has sitars in it, which is totally weird. Like so,
But that's what makes you
yeah,
interested.
yeah.
That makes you interesting. I think that as I was learning about you, I learned that you started your career a little later than per se like young
Yeah,
person, and I think that all our experiences in life is what makes us who we are right now. And by you sharing that story, it made you think like, oh, I'm gonna use that instrument, I'm gonna add it into whatever I'm working on. I mean, do you feel a pressure to change yourself or tweak your sound just to fit in? Because music can be something else. Music can be tricky, can be judgmental,
yes.
narcissistic in some ways. I'm gonna say it. Do you feel? Have you felt the pressure of like, hey Keith, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should do this. What do you think about this? Did you ever were affected by it? By
No,
the
um,
reactions like this?
I've heard them before, and
Mhm.
a lot of times when somebody like if you're talking to somebody about your music, my music, or if you were making music, somebody might say, well, "What kind of music do you make?" or who do you sound like? And I go like, I don't know. I sound like me because
Like, yeah.
I'm not following the template of whoever. I get inspired by people. Like
Mhm.
I said, one of inspiration for kind of like social political songs is the band U2. Inspiration for my um, songs that I do in Spanish are bands like Soda Stereo or Mena
Mhm.
or Miguel Mateos. So I get inspired by people, but I don't want to sound like them. Um, and I don't want to sound like somebody else. And the thing is, I that's why I don't like doing covers, because if you do cover songs and you're performing and you don't do it exactly like the record, people say you
People will judge you. Woo!
yes,
They
because
will come for you.
I'm not so and so famous musicians whose song I'm doing. I'm so that's another reason why I've been 110%, just doing my
Your
own
own,
thing,
yeah. I don't blame
and
you.
I'm perfectly content to do that. And because of, I guess, the things that I've gotten from it,
Right.
awards here and there, getting airplay on different radio outlets and stuff. I have
Hmm.
to say, okay, I guess I am doing some of the right things. Am I going to be at the Grammy Awards? No, because I don't want to go through the whole big
I know, and
process.
it's like that's more like commercializing
Yeah,
it. I think that's when, when I said the pressure about fit in
yeah,
and try to change just so you could be accepted or anything like that.
yeah, yeah. I
It's,
mean,
it's crazy that music it inspire, but at the same time, it's just it comes with so much pressure.
yeah, it
And,
does. Yeah,
you
it
know,
does. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I kind of march on my own road with my own ideas and so forth.
and you
I,
should, you should.
but I use the same technology as everybody else. A lot, and then some of the technology that I like to use, a lot of people make fun of it or whatever. Things like auto tune and stuff. I don't go crazy with it,
Right.
but it makes everything sound better if you use it intelligently. You
Hmm.
know, so so if anything that maybe sounds a little bit like somebody else's, because everybody's got the same technology. So
Everybody, they do. And talking about technology, I mean, AI, artificial intelligence, is just is way into the music industry right now. It's a big thing. It's a big talk. It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
big topic, and it's like it's unleashing a whole new level in music. And we talked about it in the show and previous, I think last week, and how it's affecting the creativity. What you
yeah,
think about that? Because it's not even, you can't even make anything personalized because it's like it's done for you.
yeah.
What happened with all the musicians? Are they gonna be replaced? And we're not, are we gonna have an orchestra? It's just it.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
I think AI, and I've looked at some of those different um, AI program things. I think it can, if you again use it intelligently, can be a good inspiration. Like if you're
Yep.
having like a creative block, and you hear, it's just like people. Um, what was it? About a year and a half ago, I read Elvis Costello, musician, right?
Right.
Read his autobiography, all 600 pages of it.
Oh my.
He said when he was with his different bands, because he would always like change bands. It would have like some of the same guys, but the name would change. When they were getting ready to make a record, now this is way before all things like auto tune and all of the digital recording software and all the stuff that we're kind of touching on right now. They would just go to record shops. They would buy
I know. Oh my
records of the
goodness.
people that they were inspired by, and they would just lay them out on a table, and then they would just take whatever ideas from this guy, from that guy, from this woman, from that woman, whatever, and
That
then
is so
make
true.
their own music. So to me, if you use AI intelligently, it can help you get through a creative block. Now,
Right.
the thing with AI, there's no dynamic to it. So at least the AI things I saw, it's like two chords through the whole thing.
Look at that.
So there's no, and no time changes and all that kind of stuff. But it is what it is, and some people are probably going to use it and then sing over it, just like people sing over beats.
But I think like I agree with you. I think that they would use it to just like get off that writer's block or that
Yeah,
musician's block, just because just to get that push. It's
yeah.
just that I do hope that it doesn't take over completely.
I don't think it.
I really don't want to use the human part of
Yeah,
it.
I don't think it can, because unless somebody figures out a way
I know.
to put more than two chords in it and have it kind of just loop. It just kind of keeps looping, 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 looping the whole way at the same tempo and everything
Right.
else. Versus, um, like my song "Freedom" that I
Hmm. Hmm.
released at the beginning of the month. And that song, yeah, this was my first kind of, again, taking a chance. Geez, what if I made a song that kind of had a little bit of reggae flavor to it?
You see, this is why that's why I was so happy to hear, because I'm telling you, you give me a full, like a feeling of different styles, even jazz. I even what I was listening, and I'm like, oh my god, he got this jazzy type. Like I already mentioned, the train freight,
Right.
type of rock. And but you got a little jazzy. I just love it. Just what you just said right now about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole,
So in that
it's
song, Freedom,
amazing sound.
that song,
I
that
love
song,
it.
that song really, like, my human element.
Right.
I'm not sure that it could be duplicated artificially, at least this point in the world, because I start off in one key, and then I do a completely different key change in the chorus and change the tempo completely. So the song's kind of going along, and then all of a sudden it jumps like a whole step higher. So I got to take my voice up a lot higher, and then I bring it back down to go back into the song again. I don't.
Oh
That's
my goodness.
that's the. I know I'm getting into, like, too far maybe
No,
in
but
details,
as a
but
musician, that is a passion, and what you have,
yeah,
and us as the consumer, the fan, we have to admire the work that you guys do,
yeah,
because you bring I mean, it is a music and instrument, and trying to put it together is not easy. It's not easy. And just the creativity and the time that it takes, so it could, go follow one note into another, so it could be a family, so
yeah,
it could combine. So it's not easy. It's not
yeah,
easy.
yeah. It's really, like I said, it's like it's really a beautiful thing, and being able, like, if I was doing this with it, and I, like, had bandmates, like, we would all
Yeah.
be playing together and recording the song, but I do it in layers. So I start out with the
Right.
rhythm, and then I put the first guitar on it, and then there's like another guitar sound that I hear, then I put that on, then I put the bass in, then I put keyboards, and
Not a lot of people do that, Keith. Not a
yeah,
lot of
I
people
just keep,
that
it's
can
like,
entwine
yeah,
and get pair it together,
yeah,
because now it's just you go into a studio, you have the beep beep beep, beep, the little buttons and this and
yeah,
that, and then is created in one set or in different sets. But you actually take one instrument and place it with another, and then you try to entwine and overlay over that,
oh
to
yeah,
if you want to put in another instrument. It's not easy. It's not
yeah.
easy.
But I tell you what, as far as anything that I do, it's just so much fun. It's frustrating
You
at
see,
times.
that's what it is. Music is fun.
It, it's frustrating at times when
Yes, I can
when I
imagine.
record the same part over like 38 times, because well, plus I'm like really picky. Like, I can hear like the tiniest little mess
I
up.
don't blame you.
Like I'm like I day before yesterday I was recording
Mhm.
the guitar solo for Welcome to the Freak Show that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
And I recorded it. I listened to it. And I said, it's not too bad. I said, all right. So I saved it, all this kind of stuff. Went to bed. Woke up in the middle of the night. Said, oh, I don't like it anymore.
Uh-huh. There
I
it is.
got
It happens. It
in the
happens.
morning and completely redid the part. But then I got to
Oh
listen to it
my
like 10 times, because every little, you know, whatever,
God. Right.
it's, I try to be, maybe I'm overly critical of myself, but I try to make the best possible product that I can and leave
That's
it.
all you can do. And I'm very grateful. A lot of people out there are very grateful. I think that healing in within ourselves with what we're living and what we want to create, I think it makes us whole. And I think that coming from me, like I said, I wasn't familiarized with your music or anything like that, but just listening and the words and the arrangements, I'm like, it's a process, and I think that that's why a lot of people gravitate towards you.
Yeah,
And it's just
I'm
the
glad of
positive
that too.
attitude
I'm,
that you have.
yeah, I'm glad, because I know a lot of people
Mhm.
struggle and then give up maybe they give up too soon. I don't know,
They
but
do.
you
They
know,
do. And we got, and um you don't have to be, oh, I'm a teenager. I just got a record label like that. I mean, you have your whole life and it doesn't matter at what age. If Go for it. And
oh,
I
yeah.
know that you did, and I know that you did that. You just said, listen, I'm just gonna get up and do it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I look at all like a lot of the people that I referred that are inspirations to me. I mean, they're all, you know, I mean, Miguel Mateos is like 72 years old, and he's still
Hell,
he's like playing. He's doing that whole thing with the symphony and everything else, and doing the tours and he's 72 years old, and he's like not even missing a beat. You know,
you see, and
I
that's
love
the same
that
thing with
stuff.
you. You haven't give up. You still get inspired. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing. And as a family man, I mean, do you does it affect you sometimes? If you have to go on the road, if you have to travel or do a performance.
Well, one of the decisions that I made at the end of
Right.
2022 was not to do a whole lot of live performing,
Right.
um, because it does take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, I did a lot of live performing. Um, it seemed that every place I traveled to perform, at a minimum, was an hour's drive time or more. So by the time you factor that into your day, you've eaten up a huge chunk of your day, plus, and then you're exhausted, and then the equipment and all that kind of stuff.
It's not easy. Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
it takes a lot out of me and takes away the time that I need to record the stuff that I do, to write and all that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe, when you're like, a lot younger as a musician, you got a lot of more of that energy and stuff. But
Right.
at the end of 2022, I said, you know what? Occasionally I'll perform for
Mm-hmm.
for a good reason, like for charity thing,
Right.
memorial thing,
Mm-hmm.
memorial concert, which like I did one in this past September, a memorial concert for somebody
Oh.
um, at a venue that this guy was a great supporter of the Philadelphia music scene.
Mm-hmm.
So um, he had a bunch of people. Fortunately, I was one of them um, that were his favorite Philadelphia musicians. And so it was the 5th year anniversary of his passing. So we had
Right.
a big thing at a music and arts center. But for me, and at this point in my life, it's so much easier just to write, record, and produce.
And
And
it keeps you level headed. I mean, and because I could imagine the whole, even now that you mentioned the even when if you're younger it would have been, but if it's so much, it gets to a person.
it
And I
does,
think that's when we start losing ourselves, we start losing what we stand for and stuff like that. So I could understand completely. It's
yeah.
not easy, but
No,
it's important to stay level headed and stay humble.
oh, I agree.
Stay humble.
I agree. Like
You
a
know,
lot. I know a lot of people who think they're going to be the next whoever, Taylor Swift,
yeah, and
whoever, type thing. And I'm just thinking, those
it's kind of
that's
hard. It's kind of hard, but some people gotta.
real. It's really hard to do that. And
Mhm.
you look at people through time that they won like Grammy awards and stuff. They were like best new artist of the year, and you
You never heard
hear
from them again.
never hear from them again. And I'm not
See,
talking about Milli Vanilli either, but actually, I like Milli Vanilli.
I like them too. I
Music
really
was
did.
awesome.
I did. I really did.
The reason I mentioned it is because I was listening to I don't know what channel it was on Sirius XM, and
Uh-huh.
I know it was the '80s channel, and they came on, and I'm driving in the car, and I'm going, man, this stuff is still good.
It's still,
You
isn't
know?
it? You
Yeah,
know
I'm
what?
kind of doing
I
my head
prefer to
bob.
listen to a good song. Okay, it might not have
Yeah,
one grand. I mean, it did, but it was taken away. But
yeah,
that's
well,
besides the point.
yeah,
But it doesn't matter. But if it's a good song and it has a good beat and it has a good feeling, I prefer that than just to be,
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it isn't.
to be the it thing.
Yeah, the music for me is not about going out and being famous and all this stuff. And when I get the opportunity to do something like this with you, which I
Mhm.
really appreciate, um,
We appreciate
to me,
it.
it's great. But I'm not expecting to be like the next big
Right.
thing on I don't know, whatever show they have, all that kind of next big thing. I'm doing it because it's an outlet. It's better than doing something that's not productive. So I'll keep doing it as long as I'm
Yes.
able to.
And I encourage you to. I
Yeah.
encourage you to because I think that you're an example of, I love it. I love what I do. I love creating. Why not? Why am I gonna stop doing something, a craft that I love? So I think that I wouldn't want you to stop,
Yeah.
honestly. And I think that whoever listens to this podcast, I hope that they get encouraged. You know what? Sometimes things don't go out, the way we think, but never lose that hope and just get
Yeah.
creating good music. Why
Yeah.
not?
Well, my goal
There's
this
an
year is
outlet for it. There's an outlet right now. You
yeah.
don't have to get signed by a record label. You just create and put it out there.
I made up my own record label.
Hello. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. I'm gonna call you Mr. Shaw because exactly, like, do not give up. Just keep
Yeah.
creating. That's what the independent part of it is, like, be unique, be you. Why you gotta be following what other people expect you, or do this or change your ways, and you're not even satisfied you know
True.
but I'm so happy that we got to chat.
Yeah,
um
me too.
Congratulations on the song Freedom, which is gonna come out soon.
Well,
And
freedom is out. Freedom is
oh,
out.
Freedom is out. I'm sorry,
Who will
but the
fall?
Spanish version.
Yeah, that'll come out later
Spanish
in
version.
a couple of months. Who will fall will be out next Thursday. The
Yes.
complete Spanish version,
Ooh.
Recuerdos y Chaquetas de Cuero, will be out on Tuesday digitally.
Awesome. We definitely, and I hope that you could come back and we sit down and talk about the Spanish side of it and that journey for you, because I
Yes.
would love that. I would love to sit down and talk about that journey. But thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to get to know you, to listen to your
Yeah,
music.
that's great.
And listen, I'm so excited. I listened to a couple of albums. You already have it online and stuff like that, and stuff. So I encourage everybody to go out there, listen. He's available in all the social media. You in social media, all the digital platforms. I just go out there, listen to Mr. Shaw. I'm gonna call you Mr. Shaw now because I love it. I love it. Um, and don't feel guilty for listening to something new. So what? Why not?
Yes.
And I'm so happy. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you.
But besides what is gonna come out, are you for the year 2025 before we leave? Do you have anything planned, or are you gonna? Because I know that you're very limited with your presentations and stuff like that. But do you have
I'm
any
bending over because I'm picking something up. Last year I had a goal. Part of my
No.
goal in 2024 was to release a song every month, which I did. But I doubled it because I did it one in English
Right.
and then the Spanish version. This
Yes.
file is all lyrics, so I'm going to do the same thing this year of
Yeah.
releasing one song a month.
Okay.
So that's why I was
That's
bending
that's
over because it was right next to
awesome.
me. It was right next to me on the floor because it was sitting on the chair before I
No,
sat.
but that's awesome. I like that. I
Yeah.
love that. I didn't know that that was one of your goals, and you're gonna do it this year again. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
I'll
god.
by the end of the year I'll have another album. I probably won't do quite as many songs overall, but
Right.
yeah, that's the goal. Is because
That is awesome. And who knows if part of that goal maybe you inspire another songwriter, or
Hope
another
so.
singer, and they do your song or they do a cover of your song. Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. You never
Imagine
know.
that.
You never
Oh
know.
my goodness.
That would be
Keith,
awesome,
thank you
though.
so much, so much for sitting down with me. I appreciate you. Again, everybody, just his songs is available right now. Just go out and listen. The Freedom is out already. A couple of songs are gonna come out next February 6th, I think you mentioned. Okay. I just want to make sure that I had that. And he's in all social media platforms. So follow, support, um, listen to his songs here on the LDM radio. And thank you so much, Keith.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Blessings to you and your family. I'm
Right.
glad that your wife is doing good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon. Love and blessings always. This is your girl Evie. Bye, Keith. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Here is a song from the guest you just listened to, and remember to come back next week for some more real talk, real music on the LDM radio station.
Once yesterday was fading in the rear view, lost in the sunset, melting into hues. Now I realize as the dawn breaks new, yesterday is not a closed avenue. Yesterday is today, can you see? Bleeding through time continuously. Yesterday, today, continuity. The past ain't changed, it's you and me. Yesterday is today, no lines in between. In love and regret in every scene. Yesterday is today in our heart's routine. In the echoes of laughter and whispers unseen. We carry yesterdays like tattoo ink, scrawled on our souls more than you think. It's not in chronological ranks, it's the moments that hit that makes our hearts sink. Yesterday bleeds like the crimson sun into today until both become one. Even as this crazy world spins undone, we're under the same moon and the sun. Time doesn't bind, it intertwines like melodies in our favorite rhymes. Turn around and you will find yesterday is always one step behind. Yesterday is today and memories weave, shaping tomorrow and the dreams we believe. Yesterday is today, and as we breathe, in each silent prayer and love we conceive. Dancing in the echoes of our yesterday, blurring boundaries as night turns into day. Chasing shadows, a sun-kissed array. Yesterday is today, it's our play. past embers burn inside forever. Yesterday's tales, no silent surrender. In us, always us, the story's narrator.
The best radio station in the world is right here, right now.
New York City's LDM Radio.